guy.
Good morning. So I'm going to be doing, I picked one out this morning. So I spent a little time this morning picking out the page. But of course, I didn't pick out the colors yet. So this morning I have my Crayola, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be having the room to have them here or if I have to have them behind me. I think I'm going to have them behind me. So good morning. So I'm just navigating, working with the Crayola instead of a smaller section that I usually do. So I'm just putting them over here. I usually pick out a couple of smaller colors, and I've got smaller ones, so. But there we go. I've decided to go with my Crayolas this morning. Mainly because I get a larger range of colors. And I'm just going to start off with a very light pink. There's a couple colors I'm going to be going with. The pink and the purples. And then I have some blues that I'm going to be using. The biggest thing is it's been a while since I've used these. So it's going to be interesting to see if the colors are the way I remember them. The truth is my kidlets kidnapped my Crayolas for a while there, and it's been a while since I've used them. So I'm just going to start off with a nice light color and going forward. So I appreciate the views and the support. So I'm just going with a lighter color. I've lately been exploring other markers, and it's been a while since I used these ones. So I get asked all the time what markers are the best markers to use, and I think it's personal preference and that every type of marker can be used, but in the end it's really what do you like. So I mean, these ones would be perfect for the alcohol markers, but they, because they've got the thicker lines, they've got the space, but I think you'd have to have a very light hand with the alcohol markers. I was using the paintbrush style markers, and honestly that's just a matter of skill and being able to, use it like it's a paintbrush. I enjoy using the Staedtler on them. I find the Staedtler comes out darker and then lightens as it dries. This one though, which is the Crayola Super Tips, I find that I like them because they have a larger range of colors than what I have in the other ones. But at the end of the day, it's really about what you like. I'm a little hesitant with the alcohol markers because of the spreading, and I think there would be a lot of practice involved to get good at them, to figure out, how far the color will spread on each type of paper, because that makes a difference. It's always the paper. So I am thinking about adding into my coloring books a swatch page, or a couple swatch pages at the back, just because each book, it's being printed in each country, so that way you could actually test your markers on the actual paper being used. Because I've run into that problem where I've swatched stuff and it looks one color, and then I put it on the different paper and it didn't match. Like, I mean, it was still the same color, but the lightness and darkness, the amount of pigmentation that transferred onto the paper was different. It absorbed, this absorbed way more of it than if I was just using writing paper, which you'll see I have over here. So I think these work perfect for it. Like the Crayola, I don't think we always have to have the most expensive markers or the most expensive things out. It's more about what works. Yes, I find that some of the less expensive markers and that tend to be more watery and tend to run out faster. But at the end of the day, it's what will your budget, because this is for relaxation. And I know a lot of people like doing the coloring because you're creating beautiful art, and it's wonderful to get it perfect. But at the end of the day, why are you doing it? Are you doing it because it makes you feel good? Are you coloring because it gets rid of your stress, your anxiety? Or are you coloring it to make it perfect? Which to me would cause me more stress, trying to get it perfect. But, if what you can afford is some markers from the dollar store, then that's the markers for you. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because the whole point behind doing this is to find some enjoyment and relaxation. Now, I am noticing that these markers are not giving me as smooth. The color seems to be a little bit splotchy. So, again, I really like my Staedtler ones. I love my Staedtler markers. They're probably my favorite. But the Crayolas are the ones that I could afford at one point. Now, this might be happening because I haven't used them in a little bit, though my kids have. I just don't remember doing that before. Now, that doesn't mean it didn't. It just means I don't remember. Considering it's been quite a while. Yeah. So it also could be that the ink is starting to go on these, because, like I said, my kids had them and they were going crazy with the coloring. I mean, full out pages and pages of coloring, where they were drawing and just having a blast. I'm still not sure how they ended up with my markers. They have their own, but they actually have more markers than I do. But they really liked these ones, and I think it's awesome that they were having a blast coloring, and I'm good with them using these markers. At the end of the day, I think it's all about what we feel comfortable with. So I'm trying to keep it in this bluish palette today. And so I'm just going to keep track of what I used. I just don't want them to be too close in color, because that does happen sometimes. Or the color is way different than I'm thinking it will be. I could have gone with peacock feathers on this one. That would have kind of been kind of cool. But now I am sorry if anyone's been messaging me. I didn't actually have this up. I've just been yammering about markers and coloring. I know sometimes people just want to watch the coloring, but I'm in a yappy mood this morning. So I hope you're having a good day. Just apparently just trying to figure out the best way to lay this out. Sometimes I like to start from the center and move up, or sometimes I'll start from the end. Literally, I will start anywhere. Wherever I feel like starting, and then sometimes I'll build around that one and just have my color palette and then go, and then other times I am just like, oh, I think this color should go over here, and I just pop all over the place. And I don't know if some people have a pattern that they prefer to follow. I am more chaotic, I think, both in my coloring and my drawing style, so the drawing, I can really see the pigmentation doesn't come through as good, though. Like, you can see the lines and little spots. So as much as I love my Crayola, I will have to say that my Stetsons, their Statler, I think is the better. Though I will always enjoy these. It's just a matter of using my lids. I feel like I didn't. So sometimes I'll go back and still gonna use my Crayola though. So let me take a look here. hope you enjoy watching me color. Sometimes I'll get caught up in the coloring at some point and forget to talk. So if you are sending me messages or anything, I do apologize if I don't catch them. When I was first looking at this, I was thinking orange and yellow. Right? Because I could see the orange and yellow. Some different, and I've been doing that a lot lately, going with orange and yellow. And part of the reason why I decided to pull out the Crayola was because I have a larger number of colors, like shades and stuff. And I just wanted to be able to put in different colors today. So I wanted to be able to keep the palette like a blue, and then just keep those, because I find that with the other ones I have like a blue or two blues, or a red and an orange red, and a couple greens, so there's not a huge variety. So when I get more pens, of course, I'll start using them. But I also have been finding that when I use different pens, the colors don't always, you go from one brand to another, and they don't always quite work together. I'm not saying I'm afraid of ever just mixing my pens. I do it. If one has a color and I really want it, I'll grab it. But I don't stick to just one brand or just, who's got, I don't have the money to do that, Now, I have some gel pens, and I plan to do some coloring with the gel pens. I like using the really fine point settler, and so I've got some coloring pages I'll be using those for. But at the end of the day, it's about relaxing and enjoying rather than what pen I use. Yeah. I know a lot of people are getting into the wahua, the alcohol markers. And I absolutely love when I see people coloring. I mean, it's just beautiful. The colors pop and everything. But I notice that they come out and then they darken. But they spread. And I mean, you'd have to really, really practice with those to get them so that they didn't bleed all over the place. And I've noticed some people are absolutely wonderful colors and have beautiful eye for the colors and everything. And I've watched them color, and I think it's amazing. But I can't help in the back of my mind always watch how much it spreads and how far away they have to be from the lines. And they're great for really big open pages. I just don't know how great they'd be for really intricate stuff. And I tend to do more intricate. Like, this is to me an easy page. Just for relaxing. And even these ones I have to be careful with, a light touch and staying in the lines. Even though it's got nice thick lines, it tapers down. So I don't know if I would have a lot of bleeding, like spreading, with the alcohol markers. If you've used alcohol markers and you have a good idea of how well they work, please put something in the comments. I will try to keep an eye on it. I think the people who have used them love them, but I'm very hesitant of spending that type of money on a marker or set of markers that I may not use very often. Like, I'm okay. I know $50 isn't a lot in some, for the smaller sets and stuff like that when they go on sale. But I'm just thinking in terms of usage. It doesn't matter how much it costs if you don't end up using it. So that was too close to the color. That was it. I think I might actually go with the... No, I'm going to go with the purple. Originally I was going to go with a lighter color, but I like how the purple and the blue working together. I know this one section is going to be a bit darker, so I will leave a light section. I've been asked if I sit down and do color palettes or decide on all the colors first, and sometimes I do. And a lot of times I'll do, just impulse. I'll pick the colors as I go. That just makes a really long coloring job though. So when I'm doing the lives, I try to have a little bit of an idea of what colors I want, just so that you don't end up watching me spend half the live trying to pick out my colors, because that can happen. When you've got, I've trapped myself a few times where I've picked out certain colors and I've used them, and then you're sitting there trying to figure out what other color will work with the combination you've picked. And it can take a while to find the right one. And so, but I try to avoid doing that on the lives. But I hope everyone's having a wonderful day. So I never know if people want to hear me yammering on, or if you just want to watch the coloring, or if you're more interested in, being able to hear the markers over me, you know. But today I'm in a yappy mood, so a lot of mornings I just color. And almost forget that I'm doing it live, because I lose myself in the coloring quite easily. I mean, I color to relax. I'm gonna have a stressful day at work, or somewhat stressful, and coloring just kind of relaxes. An inexpensive de-stressor. So, but again, I've been having a lot of people worry about what markers they should be using. I'll admit, I use pencil crayons sometimes. Or colored pencils in the like they say in the U.S. And I'm perfectly fine doing that. There's nothing wrong with using things like pencil crayons. Doesn't always have to be markers. Now, I am thinking these markers, that I'm running into a slight problem with them, in that they may not be working as well as they used to. I mean, I've had these for years now, and I know they can eat, markers do age out a bit. So I'm pulling in the lighter blue. I was going to go with light pink, but when I tested it on the paper, I didn't like how it was flowing. So I changed what I was going to do. Now, I may end up having to buy some new crayons, and that might fix the issue I'm having with them. Now, I'll probably want to revisit some of my other ones. Either that, or I'm just spoiled with Settler. Even I was using a little yellow bicycle, and those flow nice. Now, again, it could be because they're all brand new, and these ones have been around for a while. So, but again, as always, I think that markers are a matter of preference. And budget. Now, I do enjoy markers, and I like being able to quickly color, and I find that it helps with my hands, because I know there's no real, I don't have to apply pressure. But I still enjoy pencil crayons, or colored pencils, or and I find that I can do a lot more shading and blending and color I like using them a lot, but the pressure of using them will sometimes get to my hand, and I have to in terms of being able to get some really cool looks, I think pencil crayons or colored pencils are a really good option. They're a bit more time consuming in that it takes longer. But you can do quite a lot with them. So sometimes, markers aren't even, required. A lot of times pencil crayons can be less expensive. Or extremely expensive depending on what you're going for. There's been a couple I've looked at and I thought they were just amazing, but they were way out of my budget. But the colors and stuff you can get in them are just amazing. So, because I'm having that problem with that one pink, I'm just going to take a look at possibly a different tone to bring it in. I know I'm trying to keep it the blues, but I'm going to try a slightly different tone. I want to see if it will work. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's a gorgeous color by itself. I'm afraid if I bring it in, it's going to just muck up the whole. I'm going to have to think on it. It's just this one's coming out. Well, it's coming out a little bit better. Try this blue. I may end up just doing 4 colors. I laugh at myself because I'm like, I'm not going to make it all dark. I'm going to go for really light colors, and then what do I start pulling out? Dark. And at first I didn't want to use this blue because it was going to bring it in too much, but we'll see. Still want to try to use that other pink though. I am going to use the lighter purple. But I need to bring in a bit more lightness because I've added so much dark. And I know I've been rambling this morning. I've got a cup of coffee, some markers. I am good. Just need to make sure I remember to stop in time to go to work. Thank you everyone for your support and watching. Okay, so I'm going to bring in this color, which is the lighter. So slightly lighter purple. I know why I was looking at that teal. It would have made it look more like peacock feathers. That explains it. I was wondering why that one was calling me. That's the palette, yeah. But, so I know I have to start using some lighter colors. So I will make sure I finish this off with lighter colors. Probably bring in more of the blue, the light blue. But again, I like dark colors. So I do have a tendency to pull in dark blue, bright red, and I usually try to balance it with oranges and yellows, depending on the, to bring that brightness up. But I was trying to go a little bit more, honestly, Easter springy colors a few, last couple days. And I do apologize if anyone sent me a message. I know a few times I was like, if you've got experience with the alcohol markers, put a message in. And if you did, and I didn't catch it, I'm sorry. Like I said, I do get caught up in the actual coloring and forget to check to see if people are, talking with me. But I like how this one's coming out. And it's good to like what you're coloring. And there's been a few times where I've tried pulling out some colors, and especially when I'm doing colors that I don't usually do. And then I know they don't call to me that much. And then I try to use them, and then I end up, not liking what I'm making because I don't really like the colors that much. So I've run into that a few times when you try to push yourself and expand, what you're doing. I mean, it's still good to do that because sometimes you come up with some beautiful stuff, but, and suddenly with the colors that you weren't comfortable with, you like using them. But other times it's just, now it could just be a comfort level, because you don't use them very often. You don't have the best color combinations for them. So I am going to try bringing this one in. like the way it was looking. And the color darkened. So it looks a lot more pale here. Now part of the reason why I did this here was because I knew if I didn't like it, I would just pull this in and then cover it with the darker blue. It'll bring it into a different shade. But I'm gonna have to take a look and see how I like it once it dries. Because this is not at all like the color it's supposed to be. Like, when I was putting it down on the paper, I was like, But even then, it wasn't this dark. And it's the difference of the paper. Because I'm using writing paper, which doesn't absorb as much of the color, versus the coloring book, which just kind of sucks the color in. So sometimes I'll find the color that I'm using on, it, like I said, I think I'm going to be doing swatches in my books now. I mean, I thought about it for a long time, and I just didn't think it would, be a good well, I wasn't sure if I should add it in, but now I think I need to, so that when you actually go to do this, you can see what the color looks like on the actual paper. Now I'm going to let it dry and see how it works. But I'm going to go with the darker blue here. I want to go with a mid blue. Because of how dark I've been making it, I think I'm going to go with a mid blue. Let me put that one here. Now watch, it's going to be, see how it dries. So again, looks way lighter on the paper. Like you can see, it's a different blue. But let's see how it looks like once it's dry. I can also tell my kids have been using the markers because the tips are starting to break down a bit. But I also want to see how this color is working. Because, I mean, it's a nice color, but it's not the color I was trying to get. And that's okay. Sometimes you need a challenge. And honestly, that's what glitter pens are for, or markers, or gel pens. Because they can go over any mistake. I mean, they do. Because they go over it, right? So you'll still have a little bit of a base, but you can fix stuff with them. But again, it's about why are you coloring? are you coloring to, because there's a, you're going to frame it, which I've got some people who do that. And they love framing their work and giving it away to people. Some people do it just to challenge themselves, to give themselves something to do. I have friends who just absolutely love testing themselves and pushing their boundaries and coloring stuff. And they want, if they make a mistake, even a small one, they'll stop and they'll, like, if it's a printed book, they might even get another copy because it's got to be perfect, or they'll print another page for the ones that are PDFs and stuff. And then I've got some people who they're just happy to get the, to color it. And it's about the process of coloring. And I think a lot of people start off with just being happy to color, and then they get caught up in the coloring. Like, oh, I need to use these markers, I need to use this color, I need to... And the truth is you don't. You don't have to we forget. So I'm liking that blue. Still not sure about that color. So, I mean, it might work if I pulled more in. I'm gonna have to think about it. So this color, just so I can keep it apart, is going there. This is the one that went kind of AWOL on me. So, because that color does not, you wouldn't expect that to be the color coming out of this marker. Yeah. But yeah, I can see it's patchy. Just taking, I'm not really comfortable with that color. I'm gonna try putting the darker purple over it. I mean, it's a nice color, but it doesn't pull in, and I'm afraid that if I color it with the purple, it's gonna end up being way too dark. So if anyone has any opinion on that particular color, weigh in. I'm not quite ready to deal with it yet. I'm going to try balancing it out a bit. I'm going to go with my darker blue. So I'm just testing to see how it goes on here, that color. The blue. Okay, so it seems to be okay. I am actually I've tested it. I'm going over with the darker purple. So I'm bringing this in. Yeah. Hopefully. I mean, the blue didn't look bad over it, but Just at least if it's in a purple tone, even if it's a little darker, it still pulls. It's not too bad. Yeah. So this went from, hey, I'm going to talk about markers, to, hey, what do you do when a marker doesn't work? Like I said, gel pen. If I need to, I can pull out a gel pen. Some glitter on them will distract from anything, but it's all about getting that right balance. And even with it being slightly darker, it's not that off red that didn't quite fit for me. And that is one thing I do find frustrating sometimes, is you pull out what you think is going to be one color, and it looks a certain color on one type of paper, but is a completely different color when you actually lay it down, depending on the paper. So, just reinforces my need to add swatching, And I should be able to add a couple pages in, no problem. A couple of my books, I won't have room for them, but the newer ones, yeah, I can just do an edit and bring in some pages. Yet another project. Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, I can tell there's a tone difference, or it's not the exact same color, but it's close enough that I'm not unhappy with it, but I'm definitely moving that marker over. And I'm going to go with a darker blue now, so it's going to kind of tie in. So I laugh all this, hey, I'm going to be using lighter colors. Boom, let's use the dark colors. But I like what I like. I know everyone has their preference in colors. I have an amazing colorist who uses vibrant colors all the time. Sticks to the same color palette, but still manages to make everything look different. I think if I always used the same color palette, everything would look the same. I think it's coming out pretty good. I mean, the darker colors help the lighter colors pop. It's not overly dark, like some of the ones I've done where it's all been really strong, dark colors. I didn't use as much, I didn't use as many different shades. I had originally intended to pull in different shades of just blues with a pop of purple here and there, but I ended up limiting my palette a little bit. that's okay. Some people are firm believers of working with 4 or 5 colors on these. And if you work with too many colors, it becomes just too busy. But I've also been known to just color in a huge, use every color under the rainbow. And honestly, there is no wrong way. No matter what someone says, if you're happy with what you're coloring, then that's the right way. Because the reality of it is you're doing it for you, not for anyone else. It's about relaxing and making something that you like. Yeah. Yeah, I like how my Stetlers just give me a much more even color. Now, again, if I take a bit more care with it, I can get a more even one instead of just going light. And, that might just be because I haven't used these in a while. I've forgotten that you have to color a little slower to let the pigments come down, because I'm noticing a difference now that I'm I also remember with these ones they tend to show the direction that you were coloring in, because you can see this versus yeah. So this one was that one, so I'm going to bring that down in here. And again, remembering to, I guess, color slower, smaller, to try and keep it a little more. Yeah, that's making a difference. I mean, you can still see the lines, but it's not streaky. Like this was spotted and streaky. It's still kind of interesting. Let's see how it absorbs. Going a little slower. Sorry. I sometimes forget I'm actually streaming, and that I need to move the page down a bit on the outer edges. So I may have to go over these ones to try and get it. More consistent. Now the one thing I wouldn't mind having would be adding some lighter colors or highlights with, like I said, gel pens. Some people have been using the white pens to bring in some really nice, little spots where like you just kind of, on all of them, to make the coloring page, the colors, everything look nicer. Finish it up, cleans it up, just brings it up another level. And I will be getting around to doing that. But right now, I don't actually have those white pens at the moment. I mean, I've got some gel pens that, would work, but I don't have the white. I've got like some other really nice colors, but for me, I would want to have the white so I could do little dots and stuff. And if anyone has any recommendations on those, please put it in the comments. I'll try to keep an eye on it. Oh, thank you. Like I said, I tend to forget that I'm streaming. Even though I'm yammering away, I tend to forget that I'm actually streaming sometimes, so I forget to check if you're talking to me, so I do apologize for not responding right away. The reality of it is, until I actually start streaming using my computer, I have my phone to the side and I'm just checking, every once in a while, but it's a matter of remembering to check. So I'm terrible at that, so just giving you the heads up. So I do feel like I'm going to go over these ones again, just to try to I don't know if it's going to help, but this one needs it. These ones not so much, but this one. I was seeing a lot of white space. Like, to me, I didn't like how it was doing that. Now, sometimes it would possibly be really good to have that, but the other ones don't, so bringing in a little bit, also bringing in a bit more color. Now I just have this little piece here. Yeah, I'm not liking how that lays. And even though it's really tiny, I should be using a lighter color. Still gonna go with the darker purple. It just that's the color. There we go. So the Crayolas didn't do badly at all. I have to remember that these ones are a bit older. And they may need to be replaced. But overall, I'm happy with what I did. And I hope you all enjoyed watching it. I am going to have to end stream here. I'm just going to let you know that this was from the Art of Relaxing with Mandalas coloring book. And as you can tell, I like oranges and yellows. And I will be coloring again tomorrow. I'm not quite too sure which one I'm going to color with tomorrow, which book. But I like how this one came out, though I can see a couple of spots where it had a little bit of white or something. It would just bring the level up a lot. So I appreciate all of you watching. Thank you very much for your support. I'm going to be ending my live, so have a wonderful day, everyone. Okay, I'm ending, and I will see you guys tomorrow.